Hi, I'm NorthStar member Karen Green, and today I'm interviewing Michelle Herrald, who is our Nutrition and Wellness Coordinator. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Karen.
What does that mean, Nutrition and Wellness Coordinator? What do you do for NorthStar?
So my position at NorthStar is to help introduce people to nutrition, food, nutrients, how it impacts their body and their mind, and also to get them moving, introducing them to new concepts of exercise, wellness as a whole, and empower people to take on nutrition and wellness activities here in the clubhouse and then also outside of the clubhouse to live an overall healthy life.
And what kind of activities specifically do you organize around that?
So far at the clubhouse, we are doing daily walks in the afternoon. We also do monthly hikes. We team up with NAMI, who already hosts a monthly hike. So we bring a big group of people and join on to their hike. And we're also working on building a partnership with Living Yoga, which is a trauma-informed yoga collective. So this fall, they'll be coming in to do free yoga sessions for our members once a week. And we're also working on different partnerships throughout the community, hopefully building partnerships with gyms or other community centers so that our members have as many options of ways to get healthy and moving.
Why is that important specifically for people with mental illness?
Because people with mental illness on average die 10 to 20 years sooner than the general population, and a lot of that has to do with complications from diabetes, heart disease, sedentary lifestyles.
So you're helping us to extend our lives.
I hope so.
What does it take to become a nutrition and wellness coordinator? What's your background?
So it takes lots of different backgrounds to get to the same place, but my specific background, I have a bachelor's of science in psychology from the University of Iowa. And then I went on a tangent and did a little research for a while and found that psychology was really my calling, but I didn't want to be a therapist or a social worker. And then I started digging into the science and really found nutrition and the gut-brain axis is at the root of all of my interests. So then I moved to Portland and finished a master's of science in nutrition at the National College of Natural Medicine, which sort of brought all of those things together.
So psychology's been interesting to you for a long time.
A very long time before I even knew the word.
Why is that?
I think people are fascinating. I think brains are fascinating. I think that connections are really fascinating. And obviously our brain is full of connections. That's its primary function, making connections, interpreting connections. And people often forget that the brain is at the center of everything we do. It's in charge of helping us smell, navigate, move around, communicate with people. And it's often neglected. It sits at the top of our body and we kind of go throughout our day without thinking about our brains and actively taking care of our brains the way they need to be taken care of.
How'd you get to NorthStar?
After I graduated, I was trying to figure out what kind of setting I wanted to work in, whether I wanted to do one-on-one nutritional counseling in clinical settings, because that's where I did one of my internship opportunities in school. And then I was thinking maybe I wanted to go back to more social justice avenues, maybe working nonprofit, doing more food justice, food security. And I was kind of all over the place, except my mentor kept reminding me mental health was really my calling. So then I just started learning more about mental health community spaces here in Portland and around Portland. Since I'm from Iowa and just have been here a little over a year and a half, I just didn't really know the community as well. So I started researching, Googling, learning about different opportunities. I went to a lot of free trainings, talked to NAMI, talked to the county, and still didn't find NorthStar, but I found Luchtdorf. So then when I started researching Luchtdorf, who is the parent nonprofit, our hospice agency, I stumbled upon the fact that NorthStar, which was under their umbrella, was looking for a wellness coordinator. And then I jumped on that, and it kind of fell together from there.
What kind of work of the day do you do in your unit?
So I'm technically in charge of the culinary unit. So in the mornings, the days that we have lunch, which are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we sort of make a plan for the day, how we're going to get the meal prepared for that day. And it's different every day. It depends on what we're making, how many people are there. But we talk about who's going to chop the food, who's going to prepare the salad, who's going to be the main chef of the day, making sure everything gets finished, who's going to help with the cleanup aspects, doing dishes as we go, cleaning up our workspaces, who's going to be serving, who's going to be taking money. It's sort of like a mini restaurant. that we're running in the culinary unit. And then in the afternoons, it's more about making a plan for the next day, but also doing meal planning for the next week, ordering our food, making sure that we have all the bases covered, making dressings, helping stock the snack bar, which is another resource for members for food in the afternoons or in the mornings, or if they don't like the lunch that we've prepared for the day. And then on top of that, we're always looking to make more community partnerships to help bring in the healthiest, high-quality ingredients that we like to serve here.
What kind of committee work do you do?
On Mondays, we have started having a wellness team meeting, and that's sort of exciting for me because for a while I was that wellness person bugging everyone about standing up and drinking water, and it was kind of just me chirping at people. But members came to me and really wanted to take charge and be involved, and that was so amazing. So we started having meetings on Mondays so that we can plan more strategically about how to make this a more wellness-focused environment. I always think it's better to have more brains on a project. So the more feedback that we can get and the more people are really talking about wellness, the more it's going to integrate into our overall community. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we have culinary team meetings, and that's where we decide what we're going to do for the next week, what kind of meals we're going to be serving. We look at the recipes that members have wanted to make, and we round them out to make sure that they cover all of our nutritional bases. We have sort of across the board nutritional needs here. We have vegan, and we have people who only want to eat steak. And while I don't serve steak at the clubhouse, we do try to be as accommodating to all other dietary needs as possible. So that's kind of a time where we can check in and make sure that we have a good plan that meets as many people's needs as possible.
Who are our community partners in culinary and health and wellness right now?
So right now, like I talked about, we are working on finalizing a partnership with Living Yoga for the wellness side. And we're also partnering with NAMI. But then on the culinary side, we have a partnership with Foursquare Church, who is partnered with the Oregon Food Bank and Whole Foods. So once and sometimes twice a month, we get a donation from the Foursquare Church because they typically have like a food bank service on Sundays, but one Sunday a month they don't provide that service, so they don't want that food to go to waste. So instead, they bring it here.
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
Yesterday, somebody asked me why I do this job, what makes me want to be here. And it was really interesting because we were also talking about how someone's family members was diagnosed with prediabetes. And I think that because people here in the clubhouse know me as the nutrition and wellness coordinator, they sort of assume that I've just always been this super health conscious person. And that's not true. 4 years ago, I was also diagnosed pre-diabetic, and I had no idea that nutrition mattered. Somewhere in my brain, that made sense to me, but it just hadn't really been at the forefront of my mind. I grew up in a food desert, but I didn't know that that was a thing at the time. I was living on mac and cheese, pizza, baked potatoes, and Mountain Dew all through college. I had all of these health problems that in my mind were really minor because they'd just kind of always been there. But then once I received that diagnosis, along with an autoimmune diagnosis, it sort of just rocked my world a little bit. And I wanted to know more because that's how my brain works. I started researching and kind of diving into it. And then all of a sudden, the puzzle pieces started going together. Another cool thing about the clubhouse is the stories that people bring and the questions that we ask each other and then the connections that are made through those stories. And I just want to remind people that I'm a real human too, and nutrition and wellness is a daily battle for a lot of people, but when we do it together, it gets a little bit easier.
Great. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Karen.
If you like this video and want to support NorthStar, please go to northstarclubhouse.org and click donate.